Hi, my name is Fiona Lewis from Super Savvy Business with this week's Business Word of the Week update. I've just come off the back end of the first Savvy Mastermind weekend intensive workshop where all of my members flew from across Australia to spend 3 days with me in Sydney. We covered a lot of different topics to workshop and train in, including social media, business systemization, accounting, email marketing and content marketing and many other topics, as well as productization, branding, all of these sorts of things. But for today's video, what I really wanted to cover was how you can come up with ideas for your content marketing strategy. Now, one of the ideas I shared with my group was going to networking events. Now, when you go to network events, please always be having your ears tuned in to the sorts of conversations that you have with people. Listen to their biggest fears, their frustrations, the problems that they are looking for solutions to. When you come back from those networking events, sometimes what I suggest you can do is actually create content around that, whether that be video or an article or a blog content, and then email the person or the people that you were speaking to and say things like, "Hi, Hi, such and such. It was really great to meet you the other day at XYZ networking event. I remember that we spoke about your frustration around whatever the problem was, and I've created some content which you might find useful. Here's the link. Let me know what you think about it." So here you are actually providing massive value to that person. And do you think that maybe that person might really appreciate that you've been quite personal in your response to meeting them, and that might be a good relationship that you can continue to develop? The other thing that I talk about in regards to coming up with ideas for content on your website is to be aware, once again, to listening to the sorts of conversations you have with local meetups with your clients or business meetings with your clients. And in fact, this actually happened live when we were having a dinner with the Savvy Mastermind crew on the Saturday evening of our 3-day event. One of my members, Bridget, was telling me that she recently bought some Marvel comics which featured Barack Obama in them. And she was extremely fortunate recently to be at an event where Julia Gillard and Barack Obama were attending. Now, on Saturday night, Bridget was telling me that she had this dream of actually getting Barack Obama to sign these comics, but she had no idea how she was going to go about doing it. So here she was in the crowd, and as you can imagine, there were a lot of people wanting to get at the front, a lot of people wanting to get at Julia, but most important, a lot of people wanting to have that opportunity to meet President Obama. Now, what Bridget actually managed to do, and despite how scared she was, despite how uncomfortable she was, she managed to find her way to the front of the people to meet Julia Gillard. Now, when she met her, she said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I have these comics and I would really, really love President Obama to be able to sign them. Do you think you can help me?" To which Mrs. Gillard replied, "I have no idea, let me see what I can do." She passed the comics over to her, and Mrs. Gillard said to her, "How will I find you again?" And Bridget said, "Well, I'll go down the end and wait for you." So this is exactly what happened. At this point, Bridget's telling me this story, and I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe you had the courage to do that. So off Julia Gillard went, and so did Bridget, right down to the end of the line. And when Mrs. Gillard or Julia Gillard got to the end of the line, guess what she did? She actually passed the comic books back to Bridget, signed by Barack Obama. Now, I just was listening to this story and I was just blown away. And I said to Bridget, "How did you feel doing that?" And Bridget said to me, "I was so scared." I said, "Did you have to step outside your comfort zone?" And she said, "Oh, Fiona, totally. I had to step outside my comfort zone." And this is where I said to Bridget, so what do we take from this going into your business? Because at the moment, Bridget is in the moment of setting up her own online business. And she looked at me and she said, "Fee, I need to be able to step outside my comfort zone in order to reap the rewards." It was an amazing story. Do you know the next part of this story? In order for those comic books to be worth any money and to have value with having Barack Obama's signature on them, it needs to be actually documented that they are original signature. So then Bridget had to actually then email Julia Gillard to ask her if she would confirm that it was in fact President Obama's signature on those comic books. And guess what? She did it. Julia Gillard actually emailed back with a formal letter to state that yes, that the signatures were President Obama's signatures. Lesson number 2, don't be afraid of stepping up and actually asking for something, okay? Because too often I think we tend to fall into that trap of thinking, little old me, and why would anyone want to listen to me? But don't be afraid to put your hand up and say, yes, I can do that. Okay, so stepping outside your comfort zone, and don't be afraid to step up and actually ask for something that you really, really want. The third part to this business tip is that I'm actually now demonstrating to Bridget and to you, my listeners, my community, that I actually practice what I preach. Here I am at a local meetup or an event with my clients, listening to the conversation, and now I can create a piece of content out of it. So I hope this video shows you and gives you some inspiration, not just about stepping outside your comfort zone, but how you can actually implement getting content ideas around hanging out with your clients or even going to networking events. My name is Fiona Lewis. I hope you've got a lot of value out of this week's Business Word of the Week, and I look forward to seeing you next week.